Paralympic Games are on until Sunday the 18th of September. 23 sports, 528 events over the course of the 11 days, and there'll be 225 medals for women, 265 for men, and 38 mixed medals. I'm battering you with statistics there, because I'm about to introduce to you a medal-winning Paralympian. Now, there's nothing that a underachieving, as far as the field of sport, Englishman welcomes more than inviting an Australian who's got medals begrudgingly into the studio, and that's what we're doing this morning with Elizabeth Wright. Morning, Elizabeth.
Hi, how are you?
Forgive me, of course I'm not begrudgingly, but now Elizabeth is originally from Sydney, but don't worry, we've not flown her in first class for the interview. You've been in Leeds for 6-7 years.
Yes, about 7 years now.
What brought you over here?
Originally to do my PhD, so not to be an overachiever, you know, having won a few medals at the Paralympics. I've also gone through the rigmarole of uni and came over originally to do my PhD. I haven't finished it yet, though, so you don't have to call me doctor as well, so it's all good.
That would just be a little bit too much to bear. Tell us what you did as a Paralympian. You swimming? I was a swimmer. Yeah.
Growing up in Australia, it kind of seems inevitable, I guess. I grew up with a pool in the backyard, absolutely loved swimming. And when I was 13, I set myself the goal to swim at the Sydney 2000 Games, which was a home games for me, which just kind of makes it extra special. You know, a home games is the absolute pinnacle for any elite athlete. So I set my goal and I threw myself into training and worked my butt off, basically, to reach that goal.
There's different categories and gradings with the Paralympics, so just explain to people listening to this what category you competed in.
Okay, I was an S6 swimmer, so for your listeners who maybe know Ellie Simmons, she's an S6, so if I'd still been swimming now, I would actually have been competing against Ellie, which is slightly terrifying because in London, when she won the 400-metre freestyle, she actually swam that race over a minute quicker than the girl who won it in Sydney. So,
crikey.
Yes.
I'm currently rummaging at the moment while Elizabeth is talking, and I am rummaging through her medals, and I'm guessing this is the Pride and Joy, because this is the silver. Yeah. Put me right if I'm wrong, but this is the silver that you won in Sydney.
Yep, the silver that I won in Sydney in the 400-metre freestyle for S6.
And is this your time in there as well?
That's my time, yeah.
6 minutes, 24 seconds, 0.50.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
You're here to talk about the Paralympics, and there's plenty to go at.
There is.
This year in particular, because I think, and this isn't me just being flag waving for England or for Great Britain. I think everybody agrees London was very good. Oh,
London was amazing. You know, being Australian, I'm not ashamed to admit that London just blew the socks off every other Paralympic Games that has come thus far. I really think that Sydney brought it up to a new level. Sydney was the first time that over 1 million tickets were sold at a Paralympic Games, and then to go to London where it was completely sold out was absolutely amazing.
Probably caused somewhat by the success of London. There have been concerns about Rio. In the main, about poor ticket sales. I think that's probably the main concern. Is there a danger that this will be a bit of a because Olympics invariably get better year on year. Every Olympic is better than the previous one, isn't it? Is there a danger that isn't going to happen with this Paralympics?
I think in the weeks leading up to these games there has been a real concern. I've been really concerned. You know, I was kind of saying to people that this really was unprecedented, that the ticket sales were so poor. You know, when I swam in Atlanta in '96, I'd say the stands were probably about half full, and I kind of felt that for Rio to be even worse than that in a sense, it was really, really sad. But kind of watching the coverage in the past few days and seeing that the ticket sales have actually really picked up. When I was watching the opening ceremony last night, the stands looked really full. I think that it's going to pick up, and I think that it's going to be a success. It might not be as successful as London, but I think it's going to be a success anyway.
Now, initially, and the actual name Paralympics comes from running parallel with the Olympics. Because originally, and my history is based on visiting museums a couple of years ago, but the two events ran side by side. They're now very much, the Paralympics are the pinnacle of sport in its own right. And that is that a good thing? Because one or two people are saying, actually, the Olympic movement is distancing itself from the Paralympic movement. I don't know the politics. I know that the 5 rings aren't involved now as far as the Paralympics are concerned. What's your take on that? Because you'll know more than I.
For me, I guess I kind of swing between what I think would be good and what wouldn't be good. I think probably before London, I felt that to take that really big step forward, that perhaps the Olympics and Paralympics would have to be kind of brought more together and perhaps run together. But kind of after London, I felt that the Paralympics was such a success in its own right that I really think at this point that they should be kept separate. You know, you have the pinnacle of sport for able-bodied athletes, the pinnacle of sport for disabled athletes, and they're both getting as much excitement and coverage and passion, I guess, from not just the athletes but the viewers as well, to actually have them stand separately and in their own rights.
It's on Channel 4, who have got a lot of praise, and quite rightly, for they won the rights.
Yes.
They've got the games. They did in 2012. They did a cracking job then, and people are already talking about how good the coverage was beforehand because of the adverts that they've put together. There's been some wonderful work done there, hasn't there?
Oh, absolutely. I kind of remember growing up and wanting to watch Paralympic coverage when I was a child, and the best we would get in Australia, and I imagine this was the same all around the world, would be an hour's highlights package at the end of the day. To then come, 20 years further down the track to have a TV channel actually provide coverage virtually 24/7 is absolutely amazing. And I think also the fact that they have the Last Leg show as well.
Adam Hills.
Yes, Adam
Hills. He's very good, isn't he?
He's very, very good. I admit to having a tiny little crush on him, I think.
Really?
And
listen, he's Australian though. I don't know.
I know.
That might put you off a bit. I don't know.
Well, it's being Australian myself. I have to be a little bit careful with what I say there, but. I think just what Channel 4 have done has been absolutely amazing. The fact that they're following up the Rio Games exactly the same that they did with the London Games, it shows the respect that's been built for the Paralympic athletes and the coverage. They're getting the coverage that they absolutely deserve.
Thank you for coming in to see us. Thank you for bringing your medals.
That's all right.
Really appreciate it. Elizabeth Wright, 3 medals from 2 Paralympic Games, now very much a motivational speaker at schools, universities and businesses, but she can't have it all her own way because she does love Star Trek, and for anybody who knows rugby, she's a Parramatta Eels fan as well. So, thank you ever so much for joining us, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much.